was there anything new, do you think, in this second trailer? Anything like there's a couple of cameos?
I mean, look, this slow insertion of Daredevil is everything to me. This is everything to me.
Yes.
You know, I like that they're not just like putting him in as in like, okay, he was in the Netflix show and then we're just gonna open with him on his own stuff and then circuit. It's like he is integral to the underlayer of the MCU. So by the time we get to his massive linear TV show, linear TV level show, apparently, we're gonna be really used to him as that almost. I feel like the ground level hero version of Nick Fury.
Yeah. I read somewhere that like Daredevil, along with Spider-Man, will probably be the leaders of like the street level heroes of the MCU.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone's excited. I think that you might be right. That might have been the highlight of that trailer. Everything about it was a very similar vein to the first one. There wasn't anything super real. We know it kind of clarified that yes, she's going to represent Neil LeBlanc, whatever. The Abomination. We know that she's going to do a couple. We clarified things. I think we saw Titania. That looks like it's going to be a bit of fun. But to see at the end, just to see another
and in the classic costume as well too.
Yeah. So he's so that I guess that was. I mean, I think it's shaping up to be its own thing. It's going to be like Miss Marvel. It's going to be its own thing, and yet it's going to be. It looks like it's going to be pulling a lot of strings together in terms of characters within the MCU. So, but also the other thing someone's pointed out, which is true, is that this is the one where basically it's a bit like The Boys, and it's a bit like a couple of other kind of spin-off, or not spin-off, but piss-take shows where it's saying, here are superheroes. They're everywhere. They're falling out of windows. They're doing this. They're doing that. So it's kind of taken the handbrake off the idea of there's now tons of them around. Just a bit like The Boys.
Right, which is it really actually that part actually interests me because this is where I go again. Like people keep saying Phase 4 didn't have a direction, and in terms of like a coalescing point, I still say that it did. But in terms of the coalescing point, if you're not looking at what the intricacies of every component is supposed to be and how it leads, like you will say, no, there's no way that they're going. But I think what they've been slowly doing, like Feige is slowly putting into the effect of the Mutant Control Agency, because it started heaviest. It started with Damage Control, obviously, with No Way Home. And that was kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. But then Miss Marvel took it to the next level of where it's like they're trying to get powered people, regulate powered people. So what we're getting with So like what we're getting now with She-Hulk is that next level where it's like now powered people are getting responsible for damages that they do. So they need representation, and which will only lead to whenever the mutant, which Namor is considered to be the first mutant, even though now kind of Miss Marvel seems to have that element to her. Right. But it's like we're getting now that next step as we're getting people who have inherent powers, which I wonder if they're going to contribute it back to the blip and kids starting to get this level up, and now you have even more agency. Well, like if we're gonna start seeing Senator Kelly kind of start to pop up, and be like, hey, we are getting tired of being overrun by these powered people. We need to have some regulation. So whenever the eventual mutants show and stuff comes in, it actually just makes sense to the natural element of the world versus,
Do you think some of those superheroes we see in that She-Hulk or strange things we see in She-Hulk, they almost look like mutants. Like they almost give a mutant feel to them, don't they?
Right. Like we're seeing more and more. It's like exactly. It's like the level of powered people seems to be increasing, which should be a focus, which clearly has to be a focus in some way, shape, or form. Where is this all coming from? Maybe maybe, just hopefully, they'll actually explain the freaking giant hand in the middle of the ocean.
Oh, wow. We keep coming back to the
body
Eternals. We keep coming back to the Eternals. Yeah.
That's still ticking you off, huh?
Oh, I mean, I have to admit, it bugs me too. It bugs me too.
Like, the only reason I will give them grace is because I understand the fact that all these productions happened at the same time. So they didn't get to see off of each other exactly how it is. Yep. But by now, come on, we need to acknowledge this thing. We need to acknowledge this thing. Some ish happened.
So good old She-Hulk. She moves the ball a little bit downfield as in regards to this damage control and the legalities as we continue to flesh out the, and so when mutants come, Senator Kelly and good old William Stryker. I'm pumped for William Stryker.
Right.
It will have somewhere a gap to step into. And I think I know I've been booed off this one before, but I still think that the guy who played the real nasty piece of work in WandaVision, whoever that guy was, and I forget who he is.
Oh yeah,
He was a real nasty piece of crap.
Yeah, I want him to be back. Like, I want to see what would happen because he had the right mindset of we're trying to weaponize against this space force that's coming in, and we're seeing more of it. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he's the one that's heading damage control since he's now he might no longer be.
Well, he was a nasty piece of work, but he fit that kind of General Ross and antagonist. Slimy. Don't like this guy, but he's driven. He's driven, and he is going to. That William Stryker kind of. Oh, we got to get up early in the morning if we're going to beat this guy because this guy's a tour de force. This is
right.
And a little bit of that guy from Miss Marvel, that guy who with the beard and stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's the working conjunction of all three of them. The lady who's just overzealous. The guy with the beard because he was both No Way Home and Miss Marvel, and dude from WandaVision. Like, if they were not creating a new company or adjusting damage control, because damage control initially was just cleaning up, but now having that be the other organization that, like I said, turns into the Mutant Control Agency. Like, if we start seeing like the elements of them creating Sentinels. With like, I would not be surprised if we start to see that occur little by little by little. It's like, we're researching a new, because what we got from the drones already kind of puts those elements into place. It's like, what are we getting as we advance the nature of automation? And especially after Armor Wars, fuck! I didn't even think about that. After Armor Wars, where everybody's already getting Tony Stark's old material and trying to get that war element back, that slowly brings back those elements of like, how do we have an automated control system that we can tap into, and we have the information of Ultron and old Vision and
he's still Vision. Old Vision is still hanging around out there. He's floating around somewhere thinking about boats. The last conversation he had, he was thinking about bloody boats. I thought that was probably one of the weakest parts of that show was that little conversation about boats. It's like, oh, bloody hell, just get on with this. But
don't hate on some great philosophy in lieu of a fight, all right? Sometimes we fight with our fists, sometimes we fight with our minds.
I know, that whole subplot didn't work for me. But it did bring him out there. It brings another element into play. So, all right. Well, let's then talk about Marvel.
Oh, before we end, She-Hulk, I just want to say I enjoy the fact that she was breaking the fourth wall, kind of like
I like the fact that of breaking the fourth wall and then also still having the Hulk be like, "What are you looking at?" Like, do you see the face in the background where it's just like, "What are you looking at?"
That's again, when it comes to funny little quirky stuff and that charm factor I talk about with Miss Marvel, that's Marvel does that stuff well, that's if they're gonna make, if they're gonna do the Ally McBeal, the talking to the, or the Modern Family talking to the audience type thing, they can do that because they're very good at that.
Right.
They're very good at humor, and they're very good at making people charming and interesting. And just to confirm your question before, yes, She-Hulk is quite hot. I will.
Let's remind our friends to please click on the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know when we have new videos out.
Subscribe.
Die. Oh, die.